Hello everyone, this is Wasim from Edureka and I welcome you all to this session in which I'm going to talk about building REST API using Python. Now let's take a look at the agenda for this session. Firstly, I will start with the basic introduction to API, and after this I will discuss various terminologies related to APIs. Moving further, I will explain what is REST, and finally we will build a REST API using Python. I hope you guys are clear with the agenda. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Edureka for more exciting tutorials and press the bell icon to get the latest updates on Edureka. And do check out Edureka's Python programming certification program. The link is given in the description box below. Now, without any further ado, let us understand what is an API. API or Application Programming Interface is a part of a computer program that is designed to be used by another computer program. The computer programs need to communicate with themselves quite frequently or with the operating system. And the bridge between the programs is basically an API. And then again, we have the web APIs that can be manipulated by other programs with the help of internet. And the sole purpose is to gather information or specific functionalities. For example, we have different web APIs for platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, etc., wherein we can simply gather information or functionalities using programs written in programming languages like Python. And before discussing the terminologies in an API, let us also discuss the need for creating an API. The very basic objective of creating an API is to share the data with our users. It provides the access of data to the users in case of new changes are made to or updated frequently. Now let's move ahead and take a look at a few terminologies that you will come across while working on APIs. The first one is HTTP, and according to Wikipedia, the Hypertext Transfer Protocol or HTTP is an application protocol for distributed collaborative hypermedia information systems. It basically uses a bunch of methods to determine the flow of data, like GET and POST methods. Next one is URL, or also known as Uniform Resource Locator. A URL is a reference to a web resource that specifies its location on a computer network. Then we have JSON, which is a text-based data storage format that is designed to be easy to read for both humans and machines. And JSON is generally the most common format for returning data through an API. XML is the second most common format. And then we have REST, guys. So coming to the REST, it stands for Representational State Transfer, and is nothing but a few pointers, or you can call it as guidelines, which are followed to design APIs. Now let us move ahead and discuss what are REST APIs in detail. REST suggests to create an object of the data requested by client and send the values of the object in response to the user. For example, if the user is requesting for a movie in Bangalore at a certain place and time, then you can create an object on the server side. So over here, you have an object and you are sending the state of an object. This is why REST is known as Representational State Transfer. And if I have to define REST, then Representational State Transfer, aka REST, is an architectural style as well as an approach for communications purpose that is used in various web services development. The style of architecture of REST helps in leveraging the lesser use of bandwidth to make an application more suitable for the internet. It is often regarded as the language of the internet and is completely based on the resources. To understand this better, let's dive a little deeper and see how exactly does a REST API work. Basically, the REST API breaks down a transaction in order to create small modules, and each of these modules is used to address a specific part of the transaction. And this approach provides more flexibility but requires a lot of effort to be built from the very scratch. So now that you know what REST API is, let us also understand the constraints or principles which must be satisfied for an application to be regarded as REST API. So first one is stateless. So the request sent from a client to a server will contain all the required information to make the server understand the request sent from the client. And this can be either a part of URL, query string, parameters, body, or even headers. The URL is used to uniquely identify the resource, and the body holds the state of the requesting resource. Once the server processes the request, a response is sent to the client through body, status, or headers. Next, we have the client server. So the client server architecture enables a uniform interface and separates clients from the servers, and this actually enhances the portability across multiple platforms as well as the scalability of the server components. And then we have uniform interface. To obtain the uniformity throughout the application, REST has 4 interface constraints, which is resource identification, Then we have resource manipulation using representations, self-descriptive messages, and hypermedia as the engine of application state. Then we have cacheable. So in order to provide better performance, the applications are often made cacheable. And this is done by labeling the response from the server as cacheable or non-cacheable, either implicitly or explicitly. If the response is defined as cacheable, then the client cache can reuse the response data for equivalent responses in the future. Then we have a layered system. So the layered system architecture allows an application to be more stable by limiting component behavior. This type of architecture helps in enhancing the application's security, as components in each layer cannot interact beyond the next immediate layer they are in. Also, it enables load balancing and provides shared caches for promoting scalability. Last, we have a code on demand. So this is an optional constraint and is used the least. It permits a client's code or applets to be downloaded and to be used within the application. And in essence, it simplifies the clients by creating a smart application which doesn't rely on its own architecture. Now let's move ahead and take a look at a few methods of REST API. Before that, let me just talk about a few dependencies first of all. So Flask is a micro framework in Python which we are going to use for making the API in Python in our demo. Let's take a look at a few methods of REST API, guys. Now all of us working with the technology of the web do CRUD operations. So when I say CRUD operations, I mean that we create a resource, read a resource, update a resource, and delete a resource. Now to do these actions, you can actually use the HTTP methods, which are nothing but the REST API methods, which are basically, get, post, and then we have put method, and last we have delete method. So I'll show you all these methods in our demo, guys. And for the project, again, for starters, the very first thing we would need is Python and Flask micro framework. The Flask is a micro framework. It is lightweight and its modular design makes it easily adaptable to developers' need. And it has a number of out-of-the-box features like built-in development server. It has a fast debugger. There is integrated support for unit testing. The RESTful request dispatching is there. Jinja 2 templating is there. Then you have a secure cookie support, Unicode based, and WSGI compliance is also there. And it has an ability to plug any ORM, and also it has HTTP request handling as well. Now let's go ahead and start our project to make a REST API using Python and Flask. So let me just quickly tell you what we are going to build over here. So we will make a REST API using Python and Flask, guys. So for this, I'm going to use the PyCharm. I hope everybody is familiar with PyCharm over here. So first of all, let me just tell you how you can make a simple app using a Flask, guys. So before that, you have to install Flask on your systems, guys. It's very easy. You can just go to Project Interpreter, find Flask and install it, and make sure you install PyCurl as well, because we'll be using a few curl commands to make the post and put requests across the server. And now let me just start, guys. So I'll just start from Flask, import Flask, and we also have to import JSONify. The JSONify function in the Flask returns a Flask.response object that already has the appropriate content type header. All right. So the first, we have to give a app, and inside this, it's pretty easy, guys. If you compare it with Django, making a app using Flask is a pretty easy job, guys. Now you just use the route method, create a URL, and give it an index method. And from this, I want to return, let's say, welcome to the course API. Now there's one more thing that I have to do over here. Okay, if name is equal to main, then app.run debug mode is equal to true. Right now, this is the simple code to create my app over here, guys. So as you can see, I imported the Flask framework, and then this is my app, the instance. And using the app, I have created a URL which is going to invoke this method index, and it's going to return this text part over here. So I'll just run this. I'll open the terminal, And since my name of the file is app.py, just write app.py. All right. So we have this text, guys. Welcome to the course API. So this is how easily I can deploy a server, guys. Okay, I'll just close this. I'll make a database sort of collection in which I'm going to store a few values, including a name, course ID, and description, etc. So I'll just copy it from the file I had. Right, guys, so I'll just copy it. So this is, okay, I'll just make it a little smaller. So this is kind of my database, guys. So I have name, course ID, description, and price again. So all these values inside each of the dictionaries with corresponding values. So I have 5 entries over here. Now I'll show you how I can use the get method, the get REST API method, to get all these values using just the URL. There's nothing much I have to do over here. It's very easy. It's a very basic example of creating an API, guys. So I'll just tell you how I can do that. So I'll make one more URL, guys. And after the backslash, let's say the URL is courses. And I have to specify the methods, which is going to be get method, because we're going to use the get method. And after this, I want to make a function. And for this, I just want to return. This is where JSONify is actually used. And using this, I want to return the courses and call courses here. Oh, wait one sec, guys. I have to put it inside a dictionary. Right, so my code is done to use the get method actually, guys. Now you will see what I'm actually trying to do over here. So I'll call app.py, start the server. So I think you have noticed this. I'm using this URL. I'm able to get all these courses with the description, the course IDs, the name, price, everything. So this is how you use the get method, guys. Now there's one more thing I want to tell you guys. So you can get these values using the course ID as well. I mean, you can use the headers inside the URL also. So I'll just quickly tell you how you can do that. Before that, we have to terminate this. All right. So we can create one more URL, and this has to be courses, and after that you have to give a header which is int course ID, and methods is equal to get. Now I'll make another function, guys. So I'm simply going to get the course from the course ID, and there has to be course ID over here. After this, I just have to return using the JSONify method, and inside this I'm just going to provide the course, and over here will come the courses and course ID. All right, so let's run this, guys. app.py. I close this. Go to courses. Now let's just say I want course this one which has AIML certification. So using the course ID, which is 2, but basically I have to provide the index number, which is going to be 01, add 2 over here. So I have this description, AIML certification. So this is how you get. All right, so if I write 0 over here, I get the course which is at the 0 index, and if I write 4 over here, I'll get the 4th index. If I write, let's just say 6, I get the index error because list index out of range. So this is how you can use the headers. So this is one way to use the get method in the API, guys. Now let me just tell you guys how you can use the post method as well. I'll just close this. right after this. And again, you can create URLs for almost all of these. And instead of get, I'll write post over here. Let's just say create. And now I want to get a course, guys. So I'll just copy this one only. Write course over here. And inside the dictionary, I'll paste my code, guys. And the course ID, I'll change it to 5. Yes. Now after this, I have to add it to the courses. So I'll use courses.append method, and inside this I have to pass the course variable. And now I'll just return JSONify, and let's just say created call the course. Once again, I forgot to put it inside a dictionary, guys. Now to call this, it's a little trickier. We have to use the curl command. So I'll just run this first of all. I'll open another terminal, open the server, go to the course. All right, go to the courses. Now you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 entries for the courses with course ID 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So now let's just run this again. So I'll use app.py, open server, and as you can see, we have the index page. After this, we go to courses, and you can see that we have 5 courses over here with description, course ID, name and price. With each course ID is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now what I'm going to do, open the terminal, use the curl command, and using I, H, and I'll provide the content type application JSON X post, and after this I have to provide HTTP localhost 5000 and courses. I'll just make it a little bigger. So you can see I have created a description, course ID, name and price. So I'll go to the server again, reload, and as you can see I have added one course over here with the course ID 5, which is natural language processing. So this is how you use the post method in your API. Now after this I will I'll just terminate it. So now what I'll do is I'll make another function, or I'll make another URL to use the put method, which is going to update certain values in our API. So for that, again, I'm going to use app.root, and inside this I have to provide the URL. So for this I'm going to use the header, that is integer, and inside this I'm going to use the course ID, because I just want to update one course, so I'll use the course ID for that. And for methods I have to specify, it's going to be put method, and I have to make one function and provide course ID over here as like this. And now I'll write whatever I want to update. So let's just say I want to update the description of whatever course ID that I'm giving. And for that we'll just write XYZ. We just want to see if it updates the value or not, and I'll return JSONify. In the dictionary, of course, I'll have course, and inside this there'll be courses, and there'll be the updated course ID. Alright, so I'll run this again, guys. Oh, wait a second. I think we have made a mistake somewhere. All right. Now I'll just run this app.py. Open the terminal. Use the curl command. Just copy this. Okay, so I'm just going to use the post command first of all. All right. Open the server. We'll add the course first of all. Now after this, let's use the put method, or before that. Right. And as you had seen, input method, we had the course ID as well. So after this courses, I have to add the course ID, which is, let's say, 5. Yes. Run this. Now let's go to the URL 5. And as you can see, we have the course ID updated, the description value to XYZ, which we were going to do. So we had successfully updated the value inside this course using the put method. I'll just terminate it. All right. So I'll just show you how you can use the delete method as well. So then again, you have to use the app.route. All right. So I'll just copy this again. It's going to be same. The URL is almost same over here. There's just one thing I have to change. This is, instead of put, I have to use delete, and I'll use this method. And now, all right, I have to provide course ID. Wait a minute, guys. After course ID, I have to specify what I want to remove, and inside this I have to provide the course ID, and I want to return the JSONify. Inside this is going to be result. I'll just write it as true. Now again, I'll run my server. All right. Go to courses. All right. Open the terminal. Add the curl command. So after running the post command, I'll go to my server, refresh, and I have added one more value. I will go back to our program again using the curl command, but instead of post, we will use put, and after courses, I'll specify course ID. So let's say 5. All right. So we'll go to the server again, course ID 5. We have that. Now I am going to run the curl command with delete method. So we have deleted. Let's go check there. It does not exist, and for courses it does not exist. So this is how you make a REST API, guys, in using Python. It's a very basic example. And now that we have come to the end of the session, guys, don't forget to subscribe to Edureka for more exciting tutorials, and press the bell icon to get the latest updates on Edureka. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the comment section below. We'll be happy to get back to you as soon as possible. And do check out Edureka's Python programming certification program. The link is given in the description box below. Thank you and happy learning.